Gentle reminder to all participants, we would appreciate if all participants could disable their videos and keep their microphones muted during the session. Please type in the chat section if you have any questions to ask, and we will answer your questions at the end of the presentation. Assalamu alaikum and good day to everyone. My name is Zahran, your moderator for this session. Welcome to IBFIM's 6th webinar session entitled Post-Covid-19 New Normal, Impact to Financial Services Digital Transformation. In the past 2 months, we have instantly transitioned into a society that works from home. Seemingly everyone knows about Zoom, WebEx, and other teleconferencing applications now. For our Prime Minister, we may not be able to go back to the way things were. For as long as the virus exists, we must do the new normal. The e-government system is currently at 30 to 40%. It was directed to be sped up and accelerated so that in any societal situation, if the government is ahead, the people will adjust. The process of digitalization in government administration, in business matters, in our daily lives, will be the trend in our future. And I think the impact will be huge. With this in mind, we are pleased to have with us today Encik Othman Abdullah, a financial technology thought leader in the space of Islamic banking and finance. Encik Othman is the Chief Executive Officer, Islamic Banking and Innovative Services at Silverlake Group, a global financial technology and digital economy solutions provider. He is qualified in both IT and Islamic finance and equipped with more than 2 decades of hands-on experiences servicing the financial services industry. Before I hand over the session to Encik Othman, again, this is a gentle reminder to all participants. We would appreciate if all participants could disable their videos and keep their microphones muted during the session. Please type in the chat section if you have any questions to ask, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. With this, I shall now pass the session over to Encik Othman.
Thank you, our moderator, Brother Zahran. Very good morning. Assalamualaikum to everyone. First of all, let me thank IBFIM for organizing this webinar. And I would like to also thank all the participants who have registered to listen to my thought sharing today on the topic of post-COVID-19 new normal and the impact to financial services digital transformation. So for Muslim participants, maybe it's not too late for me to wish you Ramadan Kareem. All right, let's move on to the topic. For us Malaysian, on the 7th of April recently, our Prime Minister in his speech announcing the Movement Control Order, or in short, we know it as MCO, in announcing the 3rd phase of MCO, mentioned that we have to adapt to new normal. Our PM gave a few examples. We cannot shake hands. We have to wash our hands more often. We have to wear face masks when we are around people. These are just simple examples. Actually, in economic and business, new normal is not a new term. The WHO has also reminded to be prepared to this new normal phenomena even after the MCO or lockdown period. Let me just quickly review the definition of new normal in business and economic context. It refers to financial conditions following the financial crisis of 2007-2008 and the aftermath of the 2008 to 2012 global recession. The normal refers to lower economic growth, lower productivity growth, and high unemployment. The term has since been used in a variety of other contexts to imply something which was previously abnormal has become commonplace. You can Google this up. I just take this simple definition from Wikipedia. So for me, who is working in the fintech world, even fintech revolution actually started post 2007, 2008 as a result of this new normal phenomena. So it seems that every time we are facing economic and financial crisis, we are forced to adjust to a new normal. So how has this new normal impacting digital transformation? Uh, There was a survey done recently in March by International Data Corporation or IDC. The survey done on three areas: the impact of new coronavirus on corporate business, the value of IT and digital transformation in the fight against the outbreak, and the digital transformation measures after the pandemic. And the findings are the top three negative impacts of COVID-19 on enterprises are: first, inability to visit customers; second, a significant decline in sales performance; and third, inability to resume production. However, when something happens, there's always something positive with it. So the top three positive impact of COVID-19 on enterprises are: improved corporate ability of long-distance collaborative work, wide recognition of the value of digital transformation and information technology among all employees, and gaining ability of online marketing and business development. As we all know, China was the first country that had to deal with COVID-19. As we are now undergoing the fight against COVID-19, we can definitely relate to the findings of this survey. Let's look at gaining ability of online marketing and business development. For us Malaysian Muslim, we are so used to have Bazaar Ramadan. So even now, Bazaar Ramadan has moved online. Yeah. So these are some of this positive impact of this digital transformation arising from COVID outbreak. As I was doing some research on this topic just to basically understand to who else is sharing my perspective, I like this quote that I found, yeah, that's written by this guy, Bernard Moore, on LinkedIn. If necessity is the mother of invention, coronavirus or COVID-19 forced many around the world to rethink our daily lives from work to school to entertainment. So therefore, it is the necessity that is actually fast-tracking the digital transformation. Online classes become normal even for young children. Yeah, for example, my own family example. Now every day my 10-year-old daughter is having online class on Google Classroom. My wife, who is a lecturer, conducts a lecture via Zoom. She never did that before this COVID-19. And I have personally been having meetings with my colleagues at various parts of the world using Microsoft Teams meeting, Skype, and now we are having this WebEx session. So most importantly, that we are getting more comfortable with this. This phenomena has been nicely captured by this lady from Gartner, Sandy Chen, Senior Director Analyst. I would just like to quickly read what she has written. The value of digital channels, products, and operation is immediately obvious to companies everywhere right now. This is a wake-up call for organizations that have placed too much focus on daily operational needs at the expense of investing in digital business and long-term resilience. So most importantly, businesses that can shift technology capacity and investment to digital platform will mitigate the impact of the outbreak and keep their companies running smoothly now and over the long term. So as we all know, digital transformation has been happening in the last few years. Digital transformation is not something new. I suppose from the revolution of fintech post the crisis 2008, 2007, there has been this discussion, there has been these trends, even authority, the central banks are already promoting, but some organizations are more serious than others. Even on the consumer side, yes, some already embrace digital, but some are still very comfortable to stick to the traditional way. Unfortunately or fortunately, this COVID-19 now is forcing everyone to start utilizing digital services. This will definitely last for a few more months as we have to continue practicing social distancing. Yeah, even after the MCO or the lockdown is over, we still have to practice social distancing economy because we still do not know maybe this outbreak can happen again because we have not found a vaccine. So eventually, this digital habit, digital new normal will become a habit. Consumers will prefer convenient digital services over the traditional service. You think about it. If you are already so used of doing transactions at the convenience of your own home, why would you want to go back to the traditional way of doing things, right? This new phenomena present significant advantage to digital-only banks that are getting more and more popular at various parts of the world. I would like to share here some of the criteria of a digital-only bank, which includes completely paperless, no paper involved whatsoever, signatureless. What I mean by signatureless is we are using online form and online signature or digital signature. So there's not going to be a physical paper and physical signature on paper, and it's going to be a branchless bank. Customer authentication will be using biometric enabled ID, and we are talking about biometric. Maybe you're familiar with the biometric where you can use your finger and all this thing. But now with this, we have such thing called behavioral biometric, where there's a technology that can trace your keystroke, your keystroke behavior, your keystroke patterns, your mouse click patterns. Yeah, there's this thing called biometric, behavioral biometric enabled ID. Customer service is 24/7 by AI-driven virtual assistant, leveraging on futuristic AI such as conversational technology to deliver hassle-free banking services. We're not just talking about AI chatbot to answer FAQ here. We are talking even, even when you want to transfer money, you just give voice advice. Transfer $100 to Mr. A, for example. Yeah, this is called conversational technology in performing transaction. And of course, we're talking about big data, able to understand customer behavior and preferences, analyze the data and provide recommendation with enhanced security and leveraging on a partner ecosystem, such as shared ATM networks and POS terminals. So if you're interested to know more about this digital-only bank, one good bank that you can refer, you can Google DBS Digital Bank in India. They won the World Best Digital Bank Award in 2018. Malaysia is still in the process, as well as Singapore actually, is still in the process of issuing a license for a digibank. So with this new consumer behavior, post new normal of this COVID-19, definitely digibank will greatly, will benefit the digibank greatly. So how would traditional bank be impacted? Life is not BAU, by the way, for the traditional bank. Something needs to be done in order to remain competitive. Otherwise, when the new digital-only bank come into the market, then the consumers will digital-only bank. So, having realized or having understood some of the criteria of a digital-only bank, so let us just do a quick reality check of where are we on digital financial services with regard to the traditional financial services provider. Unlike a few other countries, in Malaysia, I'm speaking in Malaysian context, We do not have a complete or digital-only bank yet. As I mentioned earlier, we are still in the process of issuing license. But having said that, we are already able to perform most basic transactions such as fund transfers and payment online. So this is what keeps us going today. We are now doing a lot of payment using online. Even when we have to go to physical shop, we may opt for the contactless digital payment because the cash handling may have virus may stick to the cash notes. Yeah, so we are already able to perform most basic transactions such as fund transfers and payments online. As FIs evolve to become more digital, more and more interaction with customers will need to occur on screen rather than in person. So this digital transformation effort start with enabling to create new accounts online. But sadly, unfortunately though, most FIs still require customers to visit a branch office to open a new account. So this is very challenging as we are observing MCO and we have to continue practicing social distancing for some time even after the MCO is over. So while digital transformation covers a huge scope, starting with digital interaction and identity verification will be the most basic as it enables digital customer onboarding and transactions 24/7 without ever having to visit a branch. Yeah. So with this, allow me to share a digital, so I pick a very basic, which is the most fundamental here, a digital onboarding. So let me share with you an example of a digital onboarding in just three simple steps and complete with remote face-to-face authentication through video interactive platform. Yeah, this is a solution that we have offered some of our clients. So the first step is when you want to digitally onboarding a customer, you can allow the customer to capture the application using online application form. So they can capture their identification number, they can upload their supporting documents, then we can integrate with National Registration Authority. So like in Malaysia, we have SSM for companies and we have JPN, National Registration for individuals. So you can integrate to do the first level of verification. Then you can move on with electronic KYC. You do OCR capture of ID document with authenticity checks. You do facial matching of ID holder with their photo. So this is very important, facial matching, because you don't want to have a person that steal an ID of another person to create this account online. So you have to verify with a real life person. So the technology allows you for facial verification. So with the ID photo scan, then you can get the person to make turns. You know, you look at front, you look at side, left, side, right, so that you can identify the person is really the person that is holding the identity. And then you can allow the person to sign digitally using the e-signature. So once this step is over, the last and the foremost part is the authentication and the bank approval. This is very important because you want to avoid fraud. So now this solution comes with remote video call between customer and bank using video interactive platform. Using this video interactive platform, then bank will do a lot of verification. I'm going to talk about this in my next slide. And then finally, bank can give the approval to onboard this customer. So this is a real example that I'm not talking about hypothetical case here. This is a real solution that we have already implemented a few sites in ASEAN countries. Yeah. So based on our experience of this digital onboarding solution, individual customer onboarding can be completed in less than 30 minutes. And for corporate, the process has reduced from 8 days to 9 days. This is what has been shared by our customer that is using the solution. Yeah, so let me now explain further about the capability of this interactive video platform. The interesting part of this solution is actually in this interactive video platform that facilitates bank officer to interact with customer, authenticate, and to capture more evidence to avoid fraud. Yeah, so I'm going to explain this key feature. So when I explain, first of all, of course, you can do a live video and chat. Yeah, so bank officer in the bank or from wherever the bank officer is working from, and then the customer can contact this using this live video chat. So there's going to be a live streaming a person-to-person video using latest web real-time communication technology. So you look down. So the most important part here, once you have established the connection, the bank officer can take over the phone of the customer. This is a very important feature to avoid fraud. So the bank is taking over the phone. The bank can utilize the customer's phone to zoom, to on the flashlight. If let's say we want to take some picture for certain evidence and it's dark, so the bank officer can turn on the flashlight, can switch on the back and front of the camera, and can take photo and even record the video of the surrounding of this conversation. Yeah, so then we move up to the right. So with this video and photo recording, so you can capture the video and photo, and then because for this to be saved into the system, so the image can be compressed, then it can be saved. It is together with geolocation and timestamp. This is very important because we need to be sure where the customer is. This is to avoid fraud. So we will have a geolocation and timestamp for the future analytics. Then moving up, then whatever this image that we have captured, we can put some annotation to it, right? And then last but not least here, whenever you are interacting with this customer online, you can do co-browsing to assist the customer in filling up the application. So you and the customer can see the screen together, so you can see what the customer is keying in. So let me go through the detail of this screen sharing on the next slide. So first, you will be able to see what the customer see. Then you're able to do two ways form filing, meaning certain things will have to be filled up by the customer and certain fields the bank officer can assist to fill. So this is what we mean by two-way form filing. And then to avoid some sensitive information to be exposed, so there is this AI, artificial intelligence powered data masking, where in the implementation, we can protect certain fields from being seen by the bank officer. So maybe if the customer in applying this do not want income information to be exposed to the person that is interacting with, this field can be masked. So while you see the screen, but the field is hidden. Yeah. Okay. So I'm coming up to the 30 minutes of my presentation. So this is the end of my presentation. I conclude, I would like to end with some takeaway notes. So what I have been speaking for the past 25 minutes, yeah, I'm coming to half an hour now. So these are a few very simple takeaway notes that I would like you to get. I think it is already very obvious to all of us now, even without me saying it. COVID-19 outbreak is now forcing everyone to adjust to new normal. Not just us working professionals, but even school kids, even as young as kindergarten. The kids in the kindergarten are also distancing. For COVID-19 outbreak control, we have to practice social distancing. So these social distancing measures now, on the positive side, is accelerating the digital transformation. If previously we had difficulty to get people to adopt digital services, now everyone is forced to start adopting it. So it's accelerating the digital transformation. Organizations with the most digital services are the least disrupted. I'm not sure about you, but for me, I have not shopped on Lazada and Shopee before this. But now, since I'm grounded at home, I have to get my supplies and I'm starting to use more and more online services. So companies that is totally digital is a winner. I believe Lazada and Shopee and a lot of other e-marketplace, they are doing even better during this COVID-19 pandemic. And this COVID-19 now, this phenomena that we are experiencing now, is predicted to permanently change consumer behavior and digital will be the new normal. So when the consumers is having this new normal, they are preferring digital over traditional services. Why would they want to go back to the old behavior when they can do their things at the convenience of their own home or in their office? They can save a lot of time. So we see that total digital bank or digital bank only would have the most advantage from consumers' new digital behavior. So uh, the traditional service provider will have to do something. If not, you'll be only bank. While we already able to enjoy some digital financial services today, but based on my conversation and based on my experience servicing financial services, not all of the banks, still quite a number of banks do not have this digital onboarding capability. And the challenges has always been associated with eKYC. So actually there are already artificial intelligence technology available out there to support a complete eKYC and digital onboarding. If authority or regulator is a concern, I totally believe that even a regulator will be seriously looking into this in going forward. Okay, and for those financial institution that is already having this digital onboarding today, there are ways of doing it with a lot of technologies to safeguard them from all the fraud. So in order for them to do this digital onboarding and to do a lot more financial services, a lot of re-engineering of existing processes will have to be done to enable more digital services. So with this, I've ended my 30 minutes sharing. I can pass to the moderator now for us to take questions. Pass to you, Brother Zahran.
All right, thank you so much, Encik Othman. Thank you for your presentation. So before we move on, I'd just like to remind all participants that they can always type their questions into the chat box, and inshallah, we will try and answer your questions. Again, a soft reminder, we will only be answering Q&As for about 15 minutes. So we will try our level best to answer all the questions posted to us here. All right, so Encik Othman, the first question we have here, I think there are two questions here that I can say that about the same line. Moving digital will expose ourselves to digital security breaches or security issues. So is there any methods or solutions that can be adopted to prevent things like digital fraud or even hacking?
Okay, you want me to answer that question first?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I have shared in a few of my slides earlier that yes, definitely there are more and more enhanced security capabilities now to handle this digital onboarding. Yeah, like for example the behavioral biometric, for example. Yeah, even the video that I was sharing with you just now, where you can take over the phone of the customer, you can capture the geolocation and the timestamp. So these are all the security measures, and yes, there are many solutions out there that you can get to support this eKYC and this digital verification. Of course, now, people are embarking into this blockchain technology, a lot of things in the market already, because more and more digital only bank coming into the picture. So people are seriously working in this technology because this is how we see the way things to go in the future. I hope I answered that question. I cannot give a very specific solution at this moment. I give a few examples just now, but yes, look for that. There are many solutions out there.
All right. So our next question, how can customers who essentially, if we do move on to this digital transformation, who provide their personal data to these institutions, avoid their personal data to be commoditized by third parties?
Okay, this is where the PDPA come into the picture. This has always been a concern from, a long time ago. That's why PDPA come into the picture. So the financial institution is responsible to observe this PDPA to protect your customer data. Yeah. So there's act that is protecting you. So in the event that you find out that your data is being misused, you can always take a legal action. Okay.
Okay, so I have two questions about risk that I will try and summarize. Firstly, how do we ensure that this risk would be accepted by a risk management team? I think this would be more from an operational point of view. And also, what is the possibility of cyber risk and mitigations?
Okay. The cyber risk possibility is always there. It's always there, right? So uh, before any solution is rolled out to the consumer, there is a process we have to observe, and now regulators now realizing this, and a lot of regulators are already coming up with this risk management in IT guideline given to the financial institution. So definitely whenever you
banyak letih.
hello,
Aduh, penat cakap.
whenever you are developing a solution, you definitely have to get involved. If you're talking in a bank perspective, you have to get your risk management people to come in to review the design, right? And then to mitigate the risk. So this is the only way that, because even our regulator is already giving the guideline that whenever you want to roll out a solution into the market, you have to anticipate the risk and you have to present the risk mitigating factor. So in short, the risk is always there, but it's not like, for example, whenever you fly in the aeroplane, there's always the risk of, that the plane crash, but not that you don't take the plane, because there's always mitigation factor and look at the probability. So as long as you anticipate the risk and you put the risk mitigation into the plan, so that's the only thing that you can do. But you cannot totally rule out the risk of this cyber risk coming into the picture. Yeah, so that's my answer.
All right, thank you. Again, we have a question. This one coming from Facebook.
Okay.
How long will it take for us to address resistance to change mindsets in customers?
Okay, this is a very interesting question. That's why I mentioned earlier on that, sometimes we have to force people to change, right? So in the past, we have been educating people to adopt digital services. So as I mentioned earlier, some happily embrace it, still, very scared and still prefer the old way of doing things. But suddenly, Mother Nature forced it upon us like COVID-19. So we are grounded in our own home. We are locked down. So how do we move forward? Yeah. So sometimes we need to force people. What we can do, we can promote as much as possible, but not to the time like this that suddenly everyone is forced. And that's why we see that one of the positive impact of COVID-19 outbreak is on accelerating this digital transformation and getting people to start adopting digital behavior. That's my answer, Brother Zaran.
All right, thank you. Again, another question from Facebook. How ready do you think Malaysian FIs are in adopting this digital transformation?
We are definitely moving on the right track. We noticed that, for example, I am a solution provider, so I've engaged a lot of banks. I know that almost all of these banks already have their digital transformation plan. It's just that some are more adventurous than the others, some are more advanced than the others. And the more on the positive side is we are looking at effort from our regulator that is promoting this digital transformation. And I still believe that when we go back to work after this, we will see a lot more effort on this. We will definitely see a lot more effort on this, because of the fact that I think people have realized that the least digital you are, the more affected you are under our current situation. So we do not know for sure whether in the future we don't have to deal with something like this in the future. So now is a time for us to learn. Why not be prepared for us to be more ready in the future? So I believe the traditional financial in Malaysia is more ready and will become more serious in months to come when we go back to work. Yeah, that's my answer.
There is a question about infra capabilities.
Sorry?
There is a question about infra capabilities, infrastructure
Yes.
capabilities.
Yes.
And what will be the requirements to adopt the interactive video platforms and all the other technological requirements needed to push this digital transformation?
Okay, definitely some infra support is required. Yeah, just like, for example, if we don't buy mobile devices, how are we able to use online services on the go, right? So there's definitely an investment on the infra required. But however, if you are looking at the industry, financial institution, the infra is getting cheaper and cheaper now. And we have infra on the cloud nowadays. Yeah? So you don't have to invest in your own infra all the time. So understand that for banks or financial services, you're taking care of very sensitive data. So maybe the sensitive data can still be captured on your own infra, your own, but things that, you know, just to facilitate the digital services, you can subscribe to the cloud services. So this is getting more and more widespread at the moment and getting more and more convenient, getting cheaper. But yes, definitely there need to be investment on the infra to support the online services. That's my answer.
All right. So we have a question here asking about could you explain more on the AI-powered data masking?
Okay. AI-powered data masking is we leverage on AI technology. Where remember in my video, interactive video example I show, we are sharing screens with the customer. So there's this prospective customer that is filling up the form online, and we need to help the customer. You know, sometimes our terminology may not be very familiar to the customer, so we provide this technology where there is bank officer sitting somewhere at the support center who is able to see what the customer is filling in. So you are sharing the screen, you see what the customer is filling in. But some of the field information that the customer is filling may be very sensitive to just everybody to be able to view it. So in the screen that the bank officer is seeing, the field can be masked, can be protected. You only see, you know, like XXXX. Maybe on the other side, the person is entering his or her income, but what you are saying is only XXXX. This is masking. So we are using artificial intelligence technology to do this, so that you are able to support the customer in filling up the form online. You're able to see the screen, and yet the information that they are entering is hidden. So that's basically the AI mass data technology.
Okay, we have a question coming in from Facebook.
Okay.
In your dealings with the banks,
Yeah.
do you see equal attempts by Islamic banks to address the change, or do you see that conventional banks are still leading the change?
Okay. This is a very challenging question. Not to say equal. This is my personal opinion. Yeah, I think I have written in the past. The challenge that we have with Islamic bank is that the size. Yeah, the size. Because that then also relates to the capital. Because the Islamic banks are definitely smaller, so more constrained in terms of the talents and in terms of the budget compared to the more established conventional counterpart. So the conventional banking group, those Islamic bank that is within the conventional banking group, they have the luxury of leveraging on the group technology investment, whereas the full-fledged Islamic bank, they are on their own. So whatever that they have, they're on their own. Yeah. So that's really you cannot really compare apple to apple. So of course, the bigger banking group with more budget, with more talent, will be the winner. But I'm happy to see though the full-fledged Islamic banks are putting in a lot of initiatives in modernizing their technology, in embarking into a digital transformation. This is based on my experience engaging with these different financial institutions.
All right. So with another question regarding cryptocurrency. So do you think this is part of this digital transformation, or is it something that sits on its own?
Well, okay, cryptocurrency, yeah, there has been this craze about the cryptocurrency as an alternative currency. By the way, for information, to be frank, I'm not a very big fan of this cryptocurrency. From Islamic standpoint, some of the cryptocurrency which is not asset backed is not even Sharia compliant. Okay, so I don't think this is the good time to talk about this cryptocurrency. I am focusing more on the digital transformation of financial services by the financial institution that is servicing general people like you and me. Because for people who can appreciate crypto, you really need to understand what cryptocurrency is all about. We don't want people to just start playing with cryptocurrency without understanding it. And some people have already, become victim of some scams of cryptocurrency and all that. Don't get me wrong, it's bad about cryptocurrency. There's some good purpose of it. Okay, so for the Sharia compliant, it has to be asset-backed cryptocurrency, but it is a separate discussion altogether. That's my response to that.
All right, thank you. So we will be answering one last question, inshallah, before we wrap up the session. So the last question I have here is, with this digital transformation and moving most transactions online, so agreements and contracts will be entirely digital. So how would it be viewed in the legal perspective? And if there is any issues arising, would the courts accept this online transactions? Or what do you think about that?
Okay, this is again the new normal that all of us have to start adapting, right? So this is not anyone. So definitely from the legal context, from the legal perspective, we have to get all their inputs. We have to get all their opinion. We have to put this into the process. Okay, and if today we already have a digital-only bank, we already have all this digital onboarding. There are ways, there are mechanisms on how to capture this document on electronic digital signature, for example. Yeah. So just we have to make sure that get legal advice, get legal department to be involved in all this design to make sure that all of these things is able to be presented to court in the future. So as I mentioned earlier, that's why my last note I ended my presentation with banks, traditional financial services will have to start re-engineering the processes to look at all aspects, to get the opinions of everyone for the purpose of moving more into a digital service, so that everyone will be better prepared in the future should we have to face a similar situation or even more difficult situation in the future. So that is my response.
All right, we just have one last question that just came in. Sorry for that. What is your advice for new graduates who are keen to join the Islamic finance industry? Maybe not just banking, but like yourself, a solutions provider. So again, what would be your advice?
Wow, all right. Advice is definitely when you are new, you're fresh graduate, you have to know your stuff. Okay, stuff mean your domain knowledge. You have to be very good in your domain knowledge. Okay, whenever you apply for job, don't be too calculative. As long as you have the opportunity to learn, don't be too calculative. I just would like to make this comment. I suppose this question is being asked by a fresh grad, a very young person. During my days, when we started working, when we wanted to learn new things, it was normal for us to work 15, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, all right? And we were not very calculative about work. But unfortunately, the young generation today, that is, you know, the people that we have to deal with, sometimes you cannot take the challenge, you cannot take the pressure. You think that, you know, life is more fun out there, so you just want to work within the hours. So this is attitude. What I'm trying to say, this is attitude. So invest in as much as possible in learning new things, right? And you should know what is the trend in the market. So whatever that you have learned in the university, uh, that is part of the knowledge, but you have to continue learning. Learning never end. I am continuing to learn even until today, right? So, but at the same time, you have to watch out your attitude. Make sure that you have this attitude that you're willing to learn, right? You're willing to try new things. Don't be too calculative. So these are the few. Actually, it is general advice. There's no specific, because at the end of the day, only you know who you are and what you want to do. But make sure when you do something, make sure that you do it well. Make sure that you put in enough effort to learn, to master whatever that it is that you want to do, and you know, share your knowledge. Don't be calculative. You know, you can always share with people, because the more you share, the more you also learn. Yeah, I think within the time, that's all I would like to advise.
All right, so thank you very much, Encik Othman. With that, we will wrap up our session for today. I just have a quote from the presentation that I'd like to reiterate. I think I find it very meaningful. If necessity is the mother of invention, coronavirus, COVID-19, forced many around the world to rethink our daily lives, from work to school to entertainment. I think from this, what we can take away is that any issues taken in a positive light will help us come stronger day by day. The new normal will not be new forever. So before we end this session, I would like to just announce that our next webinar session, entitled "The COVID-19 Pandemic is Caused by Our Disregard of of Nature and Animals. How can the financial sector play a role to avoid future incidents?" So inshallah, IBFIM will be having over Encik Alizan Mahdi, Senior Fellow of the Institute of Strategic and International Studies of Malaysia, over to discuss this topic. This session will be conducted this Thursday on the April. So feel free to register. Registrations will be open soon. So with that, we will end our session for today. Thank you so much, Encik Othman, for spending your time and your insight into this whole digital transformation. And again, thank you to all our participants for spending your time and tuning in. Inshallah, we will see you again in our next webinar session. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, everyone.